Battlefield fans, come a little closer, right here. All right, and stop. Okay, I need you to listen to this real quickly. It is vital to this game when it releases and your sanity, to be perfectly honest. Okay, you ready? Here it is. Do not pre-order this game. That's it, video's over. Okay, end it right there, folks. We're all done. Okay, no, but in all seriousness, do not pre-order this Battlefield game. I know. As Battlefield fans, both Lemon and I here, we have been playing Battlefield for so long. The amount of hours we put into Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 especially, like, we've played Battlefield for a long time, and we have wanted a good Battlefield game for so long. People are, half and half on one for the most part. I personally wasn't the biggest fan of one. Like, the setting was cool and the atmosphere, but overall I wasn't the biggest fan of it. Battlefield 5, I dropped after a week, even after playing both the alpha and the beta. And 2042, we're not even going to talk about that. 2042 is just a colossal flop, and it is an insult to Battlefield, and it's just makes me shake my head. But luckily, we do have a game called The Finals, because that is actually made by ex-DICE employees, and The Finals is really fun, and I know Lemon will agree with me on that. But now that we have confirmation that a new Battlefield game is releasing, and according to the CEO, or I guess the higher-ups over at EA, they're looking to release it before April 2026, and they don't have a problem, at least according to them talking to their investors and everything, that they're all for actually pushing it past the holidays, going into something like January or February, which I'm actually all for that. I'm 100% okay with that if they had to do that, especially if they had to delay it to make sure that things actually work out. But we've only seen about 10 seconds of gameplay, right? And it's supposed to be alpha footage, like I get that and everything, but there's a few things that we need to just, I think, pump the brakes and sit down here for a second, because when it comes to this Battlefield game, you have to keep in mind, a majority of the old guard, the guys who made Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, the golden era of Battlefield games, right? They're gone. And there might be a couple of them still left, but overall, the majority of them, they are gone. And I know that they brought in Vince, I believe, who used to work with like Call of Duty and Titanfall, if I remember correctly on that. I could be wrong on where exactly he came from. I know he's like the head of Battlefield right now. And so the guy knows how to make a competent shooter and to make sure that things succeed and everything like that. But the guys who made the OG games that we all loved and everything, they're not around. And the team that is making this particular game, probably majority of them, the only Battlefield games that they have with them is maybe like the DLC 5 and 2042. Now, I'm not blaming the devs, because the 2042 and overall was just a mess, because they tried to go Battle Royale, then they wanted to go more traditional, but then they had to try and meet in the middle due to, I guess, just the huge ass teams that they had working and the limited amount of time and everything when they eventually switched over and all that stuff. Like, it was not pretty. You can go out and find things under like, not Tom Hardware, but there are people who have done extensive videos and deep dives into what exactly happened with 2042, and it's an absolute mess. So I don't blame the developers on that end. But with the amount of stuff that was missing from 2042 in terms of features and everything, the fact that you still have the heads of EA that want to just chase trends instead of creating trends when Battlefield used to do that originally, things like destruction on the battlefield, vehicle gameplay, like, that's not unique anymore, unfortunately, right? You want to look at something with destruction? Go look at the finals. The finals puts Battlefield to shame when it comes to destruction and the server side stuff that they did with that game. Like, Battlefield destruction looks like child's play, essentially. If you look at vehicle gameplay, there are more games that are doing vehicle gameplay. Now, I will give Battlefield the benefit of the doubt that, at least with like 3 and 4, it was pretty good Battlefield or vehicle combat and everything. So, but how are they going to either make it feel really good, because tank gameplay especially, or other vehicle gameplay in some of the newer games, so I'm looking at like 2042 or Battlefield 5, I hated it. Absolutely hated it, especially 5. 5's tank gameplay was abysmal. The helicopter gameplay in 2042 was nowhere near as good as it was in 3 and 4, and it worries me that however they're making this game, they don't have the talent there anymore to do that. And while the new talent that is currently there can easily rise up to try and make Battlefield the way it should be, I get a feeling that the higher ups are still going to be trying to pander to the investors. They're going to be like, no, we need to do this. We need to be able to sell stuff. And I know that they have a single player campaign, which to me personally, I don't really care about single player campaigns when it comes to Battlefield games, because originally Battlefield was always a multiplayer game. So, but I know people are always like, okay, it's got to give, money's value and everything, because they're most likely going to charge for this game. They're not going to make this free to play. And while I'm actually okay with that, again, we already know how EA works. They're definitely going to try to throw a battle pass in there. They're going to throw all this extra, again, if I could have my dream Battlefield game, it would literally be 3 and 4 with Bad Company 2 Destruction. I'm be able to unlock everything just by playing the game, and that's it. That would be my dream Battlefield game. But I know that is high levels of copium right there. But as always, I need to be asking the guy who knows all the answers, the guy with the jokes, Lemon. How do you think Battlefield, let's call it Battlefield 6 for right now. How do you think this game is going to fare going forward? Do you think it can even succeed? Do you think that it's down the toilet already with all the old guard officially gone for the most part? Can they even succeed? Or is Battlefield just not that popular of a name anymore? And under EA still, they're just not going to be able to do anything about it. What are your personal thoughts on this?
So I think I have the key to saving the franchise. And here's how it goes.
Here it is. Listen up, folks. Listen up. Bring it in. Bring it close. Huddle around here. Go.
We need to have more destructible environments, all right? We need to have the game mode where I'm allowed to have MCOM stations, and I can put them inside of buildings. I can destroy the building, destroy the MCOM station, get negative 200 points for the team. Oh, I still love that moment of Bad Company 2 where I could do effectively team kills on a very big level. I think Battlefield as a whole is a name that really doesn't mean a whole lot anymore. I mean, if Call of Duty is not really even that well respected of it anymore, Battlefield is even more in the gutter. I don't really have a whole lot of faith in EA turning this around. They've kind of been fucking around, and they're firmly in the find out for the last like 10 years at this point.
Yep.
They don't have good kind of leadership's not the right word, but they don't have a really solid direction on what they want to do with the franchise. It's weird to me that they've chased Call of Duty for so long they've forgotten what Battlefield is. It just doesn't work anymore. Like at least for me, Bad Company 2 into like Battlefield 3, it was always just about these ridiculous bullshit moments of just things happening. A jet plane comes in, destroys something in front of you, and you somehow get around it and get to the flag or something, or
just crazy basic things like blowing something up that then just gets sent across the map, that blows up another tank area that's in battle with a couple other infantry guys. Again, classic stuff like throwing C4 onto a Jeep, riding it up behind a tank, blowing it up, helicopter battles, just circling around, getting hit by a jet, like those moments. When was the last time we had stuff like that? And I know people are going to try and point to, 2042, maybe you had some of that stuff, but like you had to either really be able to push it somehow, or it was very, very like just in small quantities, where if you go play Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, like I'm not saying they're perfect games. Like, obviously no game is. Bad Company 2, its movement is still, it's not the greatest. It has not aged the greatest. But in terms of like that destruction that we talked about, and especially that Lemon brought up, where you had like the MCOMs with Rush and everything, where you could blow things up, like that created, map balance wasn't the greatest in some parts of those maps, but overall it was just the funness of playing that stuff and being like, okay, I got a rocket launcher, Lemon, you got a grenade launcher, we got a tank behind us, let's just blow it up and knock it down and everything. And that required the enemy team to then have to switch it up and everything, where they would go into different classes, switch up your classes. It's like, oh crap, we got 4 snipers over here. Okay, we need to all go engineer right now and rocket this tank. Otherwise, our thing is getting just destroyed and they're going to move on to the next section of the map, right? Or, hey, we've got some other guys over here in this building. Let's just aim a tank shell at it, blow it up. It comes crumbling down. The entire thing just comes crumbling down. And we don't have anything like that. I mean, heck, even I know destruction wasn't the biggest focus on something like Battlefield 3 and to some extent Battlefield 4 as well, but they still had those like tight gameplay moments where like you'd be in the street in a city, or you'd be out in one of those like, you know, mostly houses, suburban looking areas in some of those maps, and you could just blow things up or knock the rubble down from up top of the skyscraper and it came crashing down and just destroyed people. Like, it just, you don't have those moments anymore in these newer Battlefield games. And again, the fact that they even tried to go into a battle royale mode with 2042, because that's what it was originally supposed to be and everything, that just, it makes me just shake my head. And I know there are going to be some people who are saying like they need to have a battle royale game in here. It's like, battle royale is not even that important anymore. The only battle royales that are still around to this day right now have been around for over like 10 years. Any new battle royale game that comes out right now, no, they're not going to do it. There's supposed to be a Halo battle royale mode, and that got canceled. It just did. Now, granted, Halo's name is also kind of in the toilet right now, so, you know, do with that what you will. But overall, I don't think battle royale is the answer. I think if you have a competent shooter that has the good class system, the vehicle gameplay, the destruction, the weapon customization that we had in 3 and 4 and everything like that, that is going to bring back your core audience. And if you show them that you care about this, then they can start to do free marketing for you and bring more people into the game and everything like that, right? Whether they're streamers, they simply play the game and they bring their friends over on PlayStation or Xbox or anything like that. That is what they're going to do. This is not the same thing that you saw with like EA's terrible take when it came to the Veilguard, Dragon Age the Veilguard, saying, oh, it should have been a live service game. It's just like, I know you're talking to investors, EA, and I know you've got to impress them, and hopefully you don't actually do that, but that just makes me super scared for whatever their next Mass Effect game is. I feel that BioWare is going to be done after the next Mass Effect game or anything like that. So yeah, it's not really going to work out right here. So I don't know. Lemon, do you think I'm off the mark when it comes to that kind of stuff? So
not at all. I think BioWare is on the chopping block, and I don't think Battlefield has really enough, you know, name anymore to cling back to relevancy. However, I do have a question for you. Which game was it? It was the map where it had the skyscraper in the middle.
Shanghai. It was Shanghai Battlefield 4.
How many FPSs can you remember in recent day where you can remember a map like that, where you're just like, yeah, I remember I always want to take that building down all the time. None. That was like my goal.
None.
I would start the map.
Yeah, because it was
that
Carl
whole Gustav out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ugh,
so it was the whole.
it
was the concept of Levolution was supposed to be like an evolution of the destruction and everything like that. And I know Levolution to an extent was definitely a gimmick, especially in some of those maps. But the thing, at least with that Shanghai level, was the fact that when you brought that building down, not only did you bring it down, obviously, and just change the landscape of that particular point right there, but you also had the fact that the entire area then got covered in dust and everything. And so you couldn't see that far in front of you and everything like that, right?
It was so cool.
Right. So all of like the helicopter gameplay, the tanks that were trying to snipe across the water and everything, you couldn't see after that, right? So you had to get up close and personal and everything, which was really cool. I'm not saying that the map was perfectly balanced or anything like that, but
not at all.
Overall, it was, but again, the concept was, it was fun. That was the biggest thing right there.
It was super fun taking that building down.
It was. It absolutely was. And again, in just the setting and the classes and everything, they took what made them well known, and they just improved upon it. Right? Yeah, not everything was perfect. I absolutely hated suppression. I still hate it to this day. But overall, it was fun. It was fun to play those games. And I don't know. And I have hope, but do not pre-order. Do not try to get super hyped into this game or anything like that until we see actual, not even just simply a gameplay trailer, because we already know how their last trailer for 2042 was, where we're just like, holy crap, they're back. And then it was just like, it was abysmal after that, essentially, right? We need to know all the game modes are going to be available. We need to know how many maps there are going to be, what the customization looks like. We need to see an alpha. We need to see a beta. We need to see a beta second round. They need to start releasing all this stuff. Like, I'm talking like August of this year, and this game doesn't release until like March of next year. That's what needs to be happening. Any of these betas that come out 2 weeks beforehand, that is the game you are getting. I don't care what anyone says. Oh, it's an older build and everything. Like, no. Stop it right now. We have seen that so many times over the past who knows how long. The moment they announce whenever that beta stuff is coming out, expect that to be your game unless the beta comes out again in the summer or maybe early fall. I'll give them early fall, that's totally fine. But as long as the release date is next year. If we see a release date in like October of this year and we don't hear anything about betas or anything until late August, now that's the version of the game right there. That's what you're getting. So don't get sucked into the marketing. Do not get sucked into the trailers or anything like that. Remember 2042 and what happened after that, okay? And it's okay to have hope. It's okay to say like, okay, you know, like this looks cool, but give me more information. Because I will admit, those 10 seconds of gameplay that we have seen, it looks like a mix of Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, which is great. But I need to see more. How does the destruction work? How does the map layout work? What is the, you know, how many players are there? You better not be going 128 players. I swear to God, DICE. It needs to be 64. Your predecessors tested this out. Get this for anyone who doesn't know. They tested out more players over 64 over 15 plus years ago. And they said, no, it does not work. What happened in 2042? Oh, let's do 128 players. Guess what? It doesn't work. It doesn't. So how many players are they going to be having in there? How's the vehicle balance? How are all the maps going to have tanks, jets, and helicopters? Are only some going to be more similar to Battlefield 3, where it's more city and it's only going to be tanks and other vehicles? We need to know this stuff. So please, like I stated before, nobody pre-order. Make sure you keep asking questions and do not get sucked into the marketing hype. Just don't do it. We need a Battlefield game for us Battlefield players. No chasing trends, no battle royales or anything like that. Again, you already know my opinion when it comes to the single player stuff. That's fine. I don't think it's going to be particularly good. The only single player game or single player mode I've even liked in a Battlefield game was Bad Company 2, just because of the humor. But overall, I played it once and I was done. You played for the multiplayer stuff. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. But just remember what I've said here and at the beginning of the video, because I want a good Battlefield game. I am so desperate for a good Battlefield game again. Lemon and I here would love to be playing Battlefield again. Like, it would be like the old days, to be perfectly fair. And I want them to deliver this, but I need people to remember what has happened in the past. So only time is going to tell, but I really hope that Vince is able to steer the team in a good direction, has a good goal that he has, and the team is with him. Because if they don't have a good manager or head to kind of lead them in this direction, it's going to flop once again, and it's just not going to work out the way I think they want it to.